find a problem, fix it. We filed our taxes that year. We made $12,000. I just lost it. No one is coming to save you. You are the plan A and you are the problem solver. You've got to fix this.
Nobody's coming to save you. So you build and grind and you rise. From struggle to breakthrough. From pressure to legacy. These are raw, unfiltered stories of entrepreneurs, leaders, and dreamers who refuse to quit. Welcome to No Rescue, sponsored by Proto. Welcome everybody to No Rescue Podcast. Today, I am super excited to introduce our guest. Our guest today, somebody that is very close to me, somebody I consider a brother, but many of you know him as a legislator, know him as an influencer, a food reviewer, an entrepreneur, somebody that in a very short time has managed to piss a lot of people off while creating a ton of good in the world. And we're going to dive into it. We have my good friend, my brother, Doug Fiefia. Dude, welcome, brother.
Dude, it's a pleasure to be here, an honor. Excited to just have a discussion, man, because we talk all the time, just me and you, but it's nice when we can do it and just talk about some of the things that, you know, people always wonder from the backside. They don't get to see the real you and I. And so I'm excited for this conversation.
Yeah. You know, a few years ago, we were having conversations about me getting on social media, right? And, you know, a lot of people don't know that you were a pivotal part in getting me to eventually jump onto socials, because I remember the car ride. We went and looked at that. It was that 11, 12 unit out in Green River, middle of nowhere. And at the time you had your GC business, you were looking to do renovations. And I just remember driving back and having the conversation and you telling me like, hey, I think you should jump on social media. Yeah. And I remember I was scared. I was self-conscious like anybody is when they start to get into it. And but I will never forget that, because that was the start of really something special. Because, you know, fast forward to today, I owe a lot of my organic marketing to socials, right? And you were a huge part of that. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, dude, I can remember that time also. And just, we had discussions about business. You actually influenced me to get Airbnbs and start investing in properties. And so the things that you taught me in such a short amount of time, I was like, dude, people got to know this stuff. Like, this is like, even if you don't give it out for free, like, you should just share some of the insights you're giving me. Like, the way that you think about business, the way you think about real estate is something that people would love. And so, dude, I remember that conversation. I remember like, oh, this is going to be awkward. How am I going to sound? How am I going to look? And like, dude, I remember even those first videos, and
they were awkward. They were awkward.
But it popping up on my feed, I was like, yes, he's on. Let's go. And dude, I think it's been a game changer in your business, and just awesome to see you just take off, and people now seeing you as this huge influencer in the real estate space and the short-term rental space. Like, it's awesome.
Well, I appreciate the compliments. Dude, I really am excited to especially walk through your journey from the very beginning, because we've both kind of have been like front row seat of seeing each other's journey. It's crazy to think everything you've tackled in legislation at the federal level, not the state level, of everything you've been a part of. And I want to dive into all that. But before we get into that, I want really to go back to your roots, right? You're loud and proud. You come from an immigrant family. I feel like our stories are very similar in that, right? We have that same chip on our shoulder. But walk us through the early stages in the early life of Doug, right? What were your interests? What were your hobbies? What were some of the mindsets that you started with that eventually developed and flourished into what you're doing today?
Yeah. So parents like your parents came from Tonga in the late 70s to chase the American dream. That's what they wanted for us kids, to get a better education, to, you know, have opportunities here in America.
And your parents, real quick, so you're first generation, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So your parents are directly from the islands. They're born in the islands and they came in the 70s. Cool.
Yeah.
So were you born here then?
Born in Utah, raised. I'm the youngest of 5 kids. And I still remember in Kearns, Utah, having a small home.
K-Town.
There was, K-Town. four other families. There was 5 families in one house. My family was in the living room. I still remember those days sleeping together with all my siblings on the floor. My grandpa taking his mattress outside during the hot summer days to get free air conditioning. Like, that was And I didn't know any different. Like that was just life, and life was happy. But I also remember my dad being at work all the time. He was
Yeah.
juggling 2 to 3 jobs and coming home late at night before uh, or after we were in bed, and then leave even before we were awake. And so my relationship with my dad was a little weird growing up because I didn't see very much of him, maybe on Sundays going to church. But outside of that, he was always at work. And then he would come home late at night, and him and my mom would then go back to work and clean office buildings.
Mm.
And so, man, I just look back on that time in life and appreciate now what I have, what my kids have, because of those early sacrifices. Like we we would not be where we're at today if my parents didn't struggle and go through those hard times. And I always try to keep that top of mind in everything that I do because it's made me who I am today, and just grateful for that. And then as far as who I was as a kid, I mean, I played football like every other Polynesian
Yeah.
kid, and
You were good.
that was a dream. I mean, I was all right. I don't know if I say good, but yeah, I loved it. It was a dream to go play at the next level and
Yeah.
potentially in the NFL. But you know, the reality is that life hits you. I was 5'9", 5'10", a buck 85, and although I was all state and we took state championship that year, you know, you only have so many opportunities when you're that size, and you can only do so much. But that was my childhood, man. Just trying to figure out where I fit in kind of Utah,
Yeah.
and having immigrant parents, and kind of struggling early on,
Yeah.
realizing that we didn't have as much as, our neighbors or kids that were
Yeah.
at school.
So, it's interesting because I feel like there's a lot of people that have immigrant families and their first generation, their first American generation. There's a lot of them that end up being entrepreneurs. And I kind of want to dive into that. You've watched your parents, what sounded like they were employees for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Cleaning and stuff like that. Talk us through, because you're obviously an entrepreneur. You started a construction business. Now you're a politician. What were some of the lessons you took from your immigrant parents that eventually led into that, right? Because I just think it's a unique correlation. There's a lot of first generation Americans that end up being entrepreneurs, go-getters, right? And
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your perspective on
Well,
that.
I attribute that, me as an entrepreneur, to my dad. Like,
Yeah.
very broken
man.
English, trying to figure things out, juggling multiple jobs, and then joins a construction company,
Yeah.
and he learns drywall. And after about a year of doing it, he says in his crazy mind, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to start my own company. And maybe because we didn't have anything that
Yeah.
we had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
But what I learned from him is, again, didn't speak very much English, like decent.
Yeah.
But what he did to get jobs is he went to construction sites, would just drive around all day and just pull up and be like, hey, here's a flyer I made at the library. Like, can I bid this
Guerrilla
project?
marketing, baby.
You know what I mean? Like,
Door to door.
he just did that without any fear, without any shame. Like I've done door-to-door sales. You've done door-to-door.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that I could do that shamelessly. Like, just be like, hey man, can I bid? So those like early lessons of seeing that happen and living in a household where we eat what we kill,
Yeah.
like that built into me that, my dad did it and he didn't have a great education. He didn't speak great English. If he can do it, man, think about all the opportunities I've been given. I have been able to go to school and learn and get a business degree. If he can do it, I can do it. And that early like grit and grind of what he had to go through to make it happen is something I think I still carry with me today.
Yeah. When I feel like a lot of those OGs, right? Like your parents, my grandparents that come from, the islands, frankly, going to a job site with, this thing you create at the library is honestly, it's really not that difficult when you consider them coming from the islands, that sacrifice of them coming over. And so, I'm sure in his mind, to us looking at it as first generation Americans, we're like, man, to your point, I don't know if we're that shameless, right? But like
Yeah.
to them, it's like, I crossed the Pacific Ocean to be here. like, I'm gonna go ask for the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but I think it's important for us to recognize those lessons that eventually develop into bigger and better things, because that's our job, right? Is to build on what giants have created, right?
Yeah. That's an interesting point because the way I see him is like, if he could do that, then I could do it. But he probably, like to your point, he's probably looking at his grandpa, or they navigated the seas,
Yeah.
right? Like, if they can do that, then I can do this. I could navigate America and Utah and
Yep.
business if they could navigate the sea using the temperature, the animals, and all of it, and the stars, right? And
Yeah.
navigate that. So it's interesting that we lay the foundation for future generations. And I hope that's what my kids look at is, man, if my dad could do all of these things and chase his dreams, then I could be anything that I want to be.
Yeah.
And that's really at the end of
Love
the day, the hope of any parent,
I
really.
love it. So I want to dive into a little bit more of your family dynamic, because I know more than most, but I want to hear kind of your really your journey, especially being the youngest, right? Talk a little bit about your siblings, about navigating being the youngest, because being the youngest in a Tongan household, there's some roles there, right? There's some things that are significant, and it's interesting now seeing you now, like in your career. I want to know how all of that influenced you and what that looked like.
Yeah. So my oldest sister, because my parents were always working, she was the second mom. So we treated her
Yeah.
as mom. Whatever she said went. Then you have my older brother, CE. He was the star athlete. He was Mr. Football, played at Utah State. He was kind of the jock of the family. He was the punk. I love you, but he was the older brother, right? The typical older brother that you see in movies, like not your lovey-dovey, like, hey, let
Yeah.
me be your friend. But he was close with me because he wanted me to be tough.
Yeah.
So I went to all his practices. I was his
Yeah.
water boy when he was in high school. So there was that dynamic.
You just
And
got called to
then-
be head coach.
Yeah, head coach at
Congratulations.
Farmington.
Yes,
He was a
sir.
college coach for a while, and went to high school so he could coach his sons, which is pretty cool, admirable.
Yeah.
And then you have my sister Fane, musical one. She's she's the middle child, so she fought with everyone. And then my brother Kaho, who was just older than me, and we were frenemies. Like, we had to share everything. My mom bought us matching clothes,
Yeah.
matching shoes, and we were always trying to navigate, who has to go do all the things that everyone asks. And
Yeah.
that's the role of a Tongan youngest is
100%.
whatever everyone wants, you got to do it. Shut your mouth and you do it. You just don't
100%.
complain. And so that taught me patience, listening, because I didn't have any other option. And we joke, I have big ears. And the reason it's big ears because it got pulled all the time. Whether it was my parents or my siblings, I had no option other than listening. And so I think about those, like the ability to adapt and
Yeah.
change based off of my older siblings, not just my parents, but my older siblings'
100%.
attitude that day, or their whatever they were going through. I had to deal with the brunt of it, and I'm trying to peacekeep and follow that. So as it relates to business and stuff, like, I have to deal with you as a business owner. You deal with so many different personalities. People
100%.
work for you, customers.
They're your greatest asset, right? But
yeah.
also can be your biggest liabilities.
So it allowed me to learn on how to adapt and adjust based off of people's personality, based off of people's attitude that day. And I think it's really served me well being the youngest after going through years and years of being the youngest in a Tongan household.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you have obviously deep ties to your heritage, to your family. I want to know, where did the early inklings of you wanting to become an entrepreneur, to become a politician start? Like, where, like, because I know that you've ran for office in high school. I know, and I'd love for you to talk about Utah State and all that, but where did that start? Where did those mindset shifts kind of come into play? Because I'm sure you're here now and you never would have thought you were here.
Yeah.
But where did the foundation of that start?
I think it was just my parents believing in me.
Yeah.
Like, from the earliest age, I think my parents did a really good job of instilling confidence into us. Like, even though we had those early years where we didn't have much, I never really felt like I didn't have much. It wasn't until, like, kids being kids are like, why do you have that? Or how come you don't have this? And they start making fun of you and you're like, oh shoot, I am actually without. But I never felt that way really, because my parents just believed in us. Like, anytime someone came over to our house, I grew up in a singing musical family. we had to stand up and sing.
Yeah.
And every Monday night we had family meeting, we had to stand up and speak. And so when I look back on where did I gain the confidence to stand up and give a political speech or not being afraid to say what I think, it was in the early days of my home when my parents asked us, okay, stand up and bear your testimony, stand up and share what your week is, stand up and sing, right? There's nothing more vulnerable than standing up and performing something,
Yeah.
right? And I was the little boy that sang soprano, so I had the high pitched voice, sounded like a girl.
Yeah.
And it was that kind of performance push that built confidence and really instilled in me that like, I can do this in front of 1,000 people. I can
Yeah.
do this in front of 100,000. I'm not scared in front of a crowd. And I think just as a parent now, I really tried to teach that to my kids and give them opportunities to share, to perform, to speak, because I think it served me well from a young age, and I hope that it'll serve them in the same way.
Well, and I'm gonna say something because you don't talk about this enough. But you guys were bad. You guys were tight. Like you guys opened. People don't know this. Jason Derulo, right? You guys
Yeah,
opened for
Jason
Joseph
Derulo,
Derulo.
Sean
Like you and your
Kingston.
sister. Yeah. You guys were like, this wasn't just get up and see. Y'all were like getting up and doing it. Like
Yeah.
it's. I love it.
We had a band in college, which was fun, man.
Yeah.
And we performed together, and it also built the bond of us siblings.
100%.
And we weren't no Jackson 5, but dude, we performed in front of some big
Sean
crowds.
Kingston, Jason Derulo, that's nice.
We loved it, man. Music brought us together. It kept us out of fights.
Yeah.
Kept us out of trouble, to be
Yeah.
honest. And I think there's something special about music. And so I actually try to keep it close. It's usually not a talent I talk about a lot,
Yeah.
but it's usually at some point it comes up, right? And people are like, "Oh, shoot, you sing? Like you
Yeah.
could do that?" And it's like, well, I dabble,
Yeah.
So it's a fun kind of skill and talent to share with people when it comes up.
Well, lucky for you, we're prepared. Austin, hit the music.
Let's go. Hit the lights.
Yeah, exactly. I was just kidding. Love it, man. Well, I want to, because you talk about bond with your siblings, talk about music. I want to come back to that, but I want to take a few steps back. Talk to me about the start of your political career, right? Because you ran for office when you were in high school, as far as I know. And then you're literally Mr. Aggie, two-time back-to-back Utah State president, student body president. But talk to me about that, because it wasn't that long ago where me and you were talking, and being a legislator now was never in the cards, right? Yeah. But somehow you've always seemed to serve in that capacity. And so talk to me about like that, right? The early stages of that kind of mindset of knowing you wanted to serve in that capacity.
Yeah. So I've always had an inkling to serve.
Yeah.
And I've loved representing other people, right? And I feel like it's a skill that I have to hear problems, hear concerns, and distill it to something that's clear and concise, and then take it to, the principal or take it to administration and say, hey, this is what the students really want. This is the problem, and this is how we fix it. And I think that's how I found myself in student government early on. Was I recognize problems and I can figure out how to solve them. And I think it comes easier to me than maybe to other people, but it wasn't something that I wanted to do. It's something that I think came natural. And I did it sophomore year, junior year, senior year.
Yeah.
I was a football player, so I ended up going to Dixie State, playing football on scholarship. But then I got an ambassador scholarship too. So it was like I did the leadership in football at the same time, served an LDS mission in Houston, Texas, came back and transferred to Utah State and try to go all in at football. Well, sat on the bench for a couple years and was like, all right, this isn't going to work out. And so I went back to the leadership stuff and ended up running when I was a nobody. Like nobody knew who I was. It was just like, honestly, there was people who were in student government, the popular kids.
Yeah.
And just like anything else, I was like, I know I can grind and work harder than anybody else on this ballot. And I was willing to throw my name in the hat. And I didn't go from like taking steps. I just went straight for student body president. I was like, nobody knows who I am.
We said it.
I got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I'm going to knock every door. And we did. And dude, we won in a landslide. It was awesome, man. And people were like, who is this dude? I don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
And it was cool, man. And that was kind of the intro to like real leadership
Yeah.
and kind of the legislature, because we would go up to the Capitol and lobby, asking the state for funding for programs or buildings that Utah State needed.
Yeah.
And so I had that experience of talking to legislators, seeing how laws are passed, seeing how budgets are produced, and seeing them pass certain things for Utah State. And once you learn how government works and the process of it's not that hard and it's not that difficult. But I had no plan
Yeah.
to run. I like people think that's a lie, but it like straight up, like I had no interest in it. I was building a business. I had a tech career, had a young family. I still have a young family. And so this was always something like, maybe after I retire and have nothing to do and get bored,
Yeah.
maybe I'll serve in a city council or serve in the state legislature. But it was never hey, we've got to do something now. Let's run now. And
Yeah.
sometimes you don't plan. Sometimes the best routes are ones that are unplanned but happen, and the opportunity comes, and you open the door and step in.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that one of the criteria that you described that you're good at that, kind of led you to in this service capacity is just being a problem solver. And I don't think that it's any coincidence that I believe that is the number one trait to be a good entrepreneur,
Hmm.
right? Is to solve problems. And the best politicians are entrepreneurs first, right? I mean, like let's just call it what it is, cuz.
I don't know what that list looks like. I might have to look at that list and then agree with you. But I mean, there's something about self-starting,
100%,
right?
100%.
And solving problems, and again, to the point of this podcast, of not having a backup plan. Like,
Yep.
you are it.
Yep.
You are the plan A, and you are the problem solver. You've got to fix this.
Yep.
You are the rescue team.
Yep.
And I think there's other people who don't have that background, who don't really know how to solve problems. They're
Yeah.
waiting for someone to tell them what to do.
Waiting for
And it's
permission.
like,
Yeah.
you are it. You were elected to do this. You got to go do it.
Yeah.
And that's what I find I've been able to do early on, is just find a problem, fix it. I'm not waiting for anyone to tell me what to do. And look, there's this like notion of like, you don't want to step on toes. You don't want to offend people. You don't want to speak up too early because you're just a freshman. You're just learning this. But man, I was elected to do work, and
Yeah.
I want to do work. And if people get offended, well, that's what I was elected to do. And I'll apologize later and I'll figure it out and I'll make it up to them. And I've made mistakes. I've said some stupid things. I've offended people already, but like I got elected to serve people, and I'm living up to the promises that I made my constituents. And at the end of the day, I can go to bed at night knowing that I did work and I wasn't just filling a seat.
This podcast is sponsored by Prodo. With Prodo, taste comes first, but trust follows. It's clean, it's grass-fed, and it's made with standards you can feel. This is protein for people who expect more. Bougie, not basic.
I do want to speak to more on the personal side of what you've been able to accomplish. You came in swinging, right? Freshman legislator, you took on literally the whole internet, all of big tech with the changes you made in that bill.
Yeah.
And then you took on Daddy Trump. You took on Papa Trump in the big, beautiful bill, at least just in the AI memorandum. You're the face of that. Talk us through on the back end of it, like, what are you and your family going through, right, in those things? Because, it only takes a quick Google search to see all of the hate, all of, the animosity that's come to you. What does that look like? How do you handle that? Like, is that something you and your wife talked about before jumping into this? Is that something you guys expected? Like, talk us through that side.
Yeah,
of it.
we definitely knew getting into this game there was going to be the attacks.
Yeah.
And that was something we had to really think through and pray about. Like,
Yeah.
that's something that changes, honestly, your life and the
Yeah.
way that your kids are seen, the way that you and your wife interact, like in public. And so we were very thoughtful when it came to deciding to jump in. And that was honestly the biggest hurdle to get over. Was we're now going to be in the public eye and we're going to be attacked, especially me. Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
And, we decided that was okay. Now, I will say that politics is the loneliest team sport.
Yeah.
At some points, people will love you and be cheering. And then the next thing, those same people or even other people will be booing. And I think the lesson that I've learned is not everyone clapping is your friend.
Yeah.
And not everyone booing is a hater. Sometimes people just wake up that morning and choose to be
Yeah.
a troll online. And, you can be mad and you can judge them for it, but I signed up for it. I don't agree that just because you're a public figure, you should be open to those attacks, right? Like, disagree with me on policy, disagree with my ideas, but don't attack my family, right? And that's where I think the line is. And I think it's gotten blurry with politics in the last 5-ish years, that people just get online and they hide behind these fake names, no picture or a fake picture, and they just come at you. And, they'll make things like I posted a video today, someone was making fun of my face. Like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
awesome. Like, disagree with me on policy, but then you're attacking me, like, whatever. And you just kind of got to roll with the punches. But it does take a toll. If I'm being honest, it does take a toll. The nice thing is Jocelyn doesn't have social media, and so she doesn't see anything. But it is heavy, right? When I say it's a lonely sport, I take it all on, and I don't tell her about 95% of it, because I don't want to bring on undue stress to her of like, oh, we can't do this. We can't, like, no, I want her life and our kids' life to be as normal as possible, and for her not to think about all the negative things that people say just because they have a bone to pick.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of that, right? I know recently you talk about it being the loneliest sport and people saying things out of line. I know that recently, your family was attacked. There was an individual you had posted about your brother. And as a good friend, like I see that, and like I get fired up. I think I texted you. I was like, bro, where they live? Like, but I think like, what's going through your mind? How do you handle that? I guess, right? Like, what do you say to people that say to stuff like that to you? Like, how do you handle that?
That one hurt. We were at a dinner, and it was with all legislators, and the post came through, and I just like lost it, almost like now. And Jocelyn was like, what the freak is going on? And I just handed her my phone, and she saw it. And then we just left. Like, we got up, we just weren't awkward about it. And we just went into my car and we just cried. The reason why this one hurt is, this, my brother Cajo, he passed away a couple years ago. He was gay. And me and him had a lot of discussions about this, right? Our politics were very different. We saw life differently, but a lot of it we agreed on. And this person who used to be my friend, was my brother's friend, attacked me on something I'd said. But instead of attacking just my views and my speech, had the audacity to use my brother as a way to get to me, and basically said to the tune of, your brother would be so embarrassed, and how could you say this when your brother would say this, this, and this? He would be, so disappointed. And I don't really care that it was from her, but I know where my brother stood on these issues, and it's a low blow and crosses the line when you try to speak for my brother, right?
Yeah.
And we've had so many conversations on LGBTQ plus community, the LDS faith, and being Republican liberal, talking about politics. I mean, me and him, we would debate all night and have good discussions, hug each other, love you, and go to bed, wake up, and go hang out the next day. Like, we did not fight. And then, I can't believe you believe that. And it's because we came from a position of love and understanding. And that's what I think they don't understand. They don't know how close me and my brother were. And so to kind of throw that out, and crazy enough, people still from that community have still come at me using him. I think it was that first one that hurt the most. And now we just kind of just like, it shows more about you than about my brother or me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, sometimes we just often forget, like, that I think in any capacity that sometimes these people in the public eye or in public, capacities of service, that they're people, and that the people that we're talking about are genuinely people, and that I feel like politics is that's the ugly side of politics. It's
Yeah.
gotten to a point where it's like humanity is checked at the door,
Yeah.
and I do feel that that's starting to change, and hopefully we're starting to see some more unity come back. But I think a lot of it is because we see people like you, real people that are in these seats that are doing the work, right, and
Yeah.
fighting the good fight.
And so I've been also critiqued, not from a negative, but just like people are like, why do you keep your social media the same? Right? It's my personal page and my political page. And most people, I would say 99% of them split it. They have a political page and a personal page. And the reason why I've kept it the same is because I want people to see all parts of me. If you're going to attack me, you got to see that I have kids too.
Yeah.
Like I gotta go work and provide for them too. This thing
Yeah.
is a side gig.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
also, I know people see me as a politician. Dude, this is one small part of my life.
Yeah.
And if I were to quit tomorrow, I would not lose sleep over it. Like I would be sad that I couldn't make the impact that I feel like I can.
Yeah.
But it's not going to define who I am. And
Yeah.
I think sometimes people get into politics and it's everything who they are. They
Yeah.
like, this is me. I'm a politician and this is my life. And if they lose, it's like heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I could lose tomorrow. I would be just the same dad and husband and go to work and provide and go to church like nothing happened because this is not who I am. And this is just a small part. And I want everyone to see everything because this is the real Doug Fiefia. This is not politician Doug and real Doug. I'm all one person.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to see everything. And at the end of the day, if you vote for me or don't vote for me, I want you to know what you're voting for and what you're not voting against,
Yeah.
for. So I want everyone to take everything. And I've said this many times. My goal is to be the most transparent politician in Utah.
Yeah.
And so how I voted, why I voted. I'm making videos. I'm trying to respond to everyone. I don't have time to respond to everyone, but there's hundreds, sometimes thousands of emails and messages that come through and you have to respond to as many people as you can.
100%.
But like, I want to be transparent only because I want people to know what they're voting for. Like, and at the end of the day, I go to bed at night knowing if I lose, they knew exactly what they voted out.
Yeah.
If I win, they know exactly what they got. And
Yeah.
I can feel good about that.
I feel like that's such a profound statement that you just made of like, this one identity doesn't define me. Because I feel like there's a lot of problems in today's society for that reason. People are just micro focused on one identity. It takes over everything and they almost gamble on that one thing, right? Anything that affects this identity suddenly shakes their life. And I think I've never heard it that way of like political posts or Doug Fiefia. It's the same thing. I think that's exactly why we need, people like you in politics, right? I think because you're real, you're a person, right? Okay, so there's a few things I do want to talk about that
Okay.
I'm excited to talk about.
Yeah.
I think one of them, and I feel like you have a whole laundry list of people that have come for you.
Hey, I'm a punching bag. You got one low blow that felt, I felt it, but
Yeah.
I'm good, man.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Hey, well, we're about to give you a platform today. Recently, I watched this clip. It was a response from an influencer, Bachelor. Everybody knows him. I'm actually a fan of him.
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
both are, right?
Yeah.
He's done a lot of good, a lot of work for, especially the church and his beliefs, and I love what he stands for. With that being said, he responded, I want to say a bit aggressively to a podcast that you had. And I'll be honest, I didn't watch your full podcast. I watched a clip that he was referencing. I watched enough of it to kind of understand the tone, but he was kind of responding. But first off, what happened, right? What happened in the podcast that you were talking about? And then he responded. I want to lay the context of what exactly happened and go from there.
Sure. So, had a podcast with a buddy, Yemi. He's building out a new podcast, and we talk just like this podcast, we're
Yeah.
talking about things that come up and current events. And
Sure.
he played a clip for me just off his phone, right?
Yeah.
And we're sitting in a studio like this, and he says, "Hey, I just want you to listen to this, and I want your raw feedback," right? So there was no prep, there was no like, "Hey, there's no context," right? So I listened to this. Turns out it's Bachelor. I have no idea who it is,
Yeah.
and he says whatever he says, and I give my raw feedback. Did I feel bad? No, because I think it came from actually a place of love and understanding. And I still stand by my
Yeah.
words. It wasn't to attack Bachelor. It wasn't to offend him. And honestly, when it all happened, it like happened so quick. I like picked up my phone and I saw all the messages, all the stuff that was going on. And I'd seen the response video that came from Bachelor and was a little bit taken back. If I I was like, oh shoot, this has kind of gotten out of control.
Yeah.
And his response wasn't what I thought would be, but I get it. I get why he was saying it. And the question was, do I respond? Right? Do I
Yeah.
make a video? Do I message him? Do I text him? And it seemed like it was getting riled up to be something that it wasn't, that I was just going to let it be. And the reason being is I actually think we're on the same team.
100%.
Like, again, like you, I'm a fan of Bachelor stuff. I think building the kingdom of God and bringing and inviting people to come unto Jesus Christ is what he's doing.
We're the mission. Yeah.
And though I'm in politics and I can be seen as whatever, dirty politicians, like, oh, everyone hates politicians. At the end of the day, my mission, again, politics is a small part of my life.
100%.
My mission is life is to invite other people to come unto Jesus Christ. And so there was no like, I'm not fighting, like there's no use of creating this online battle, even though it would get clicks and stuff. It wasn't to get clout. If I needed clout, I would have responded and made it up to this whole thing and been all mad. But dude, I think he's doing a good job in spreading the gospel.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, that's what I think we're all trying to do, is welcome other people into Jesus Christ. And so, again, I could have nitpicked and, oh, well, you said this, and this is what the podcast said this, and you were wrong here. But dude, I think it would have been a waste of his time and my time to continue to let that fester online. And so I made the decision, and look, I have to make this decision almost daily.
Yeah.
Do I respond or not? And how is that going to make them feel? How's that going to make me come across? Like, I have to take that all into consideration, because what I've realized is some people go viral online, but I will tweet something and it'll be in the paper the next day.
Yeah.
Like it's just different.
It's a different man.
Where like I'm expected to behave a certain way all the time because of the office I hold. And so I don't fight unless I need to. If there's an issue, if there's a principle in politics that I need to fight, I'll fight. But we're on the same side, and I don't see that. Like, he's a fellow Polynesian, whatever. Nothing but love, man. I think he's doing a good job. So
and you probably like, you probably get that a lot. I mean, in terms of people just making assumptions based on the fact that you hold an office, and they're saying a lot of things that you just can't respond to. You got to think twice.
Yeah, they can throw low blow all day, and then as soon as you say something, it's like they turn from attack to victim. I cannot believe you said this from your office.
Yeah.
And that happens. Early on, I had to learn that real quick. I thought I was gonna be like, oh, okay, you wanna go online? Let's do this. Let's spar.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I threw one punch, it's like, oh, I can't believe you said that to me. And so you just gotta realize that, oh shoot. Like, you're looked at as a punching bag.
Yeah.
Punching bags don't punch back. So when you punch back, it's like, oh, shoot. I just got hit in the mouth. Like, and that's the thing about trolls. This is not Bachelor. I just want to be very clear. Just trolls in general is they're so used to being the bully that when you get punched back, when they get punched back,
They just like,
they don't know what to do.
shoot.
Just like, oh, I'm dizzy. Like, oh, shoot. I didn't know you were going to punch me in the mouth. And it's like, it feels good, but you also look very petty too. And the thing I've realized about being a politician now is when I post, it's not just for that one person. Everyone looks at how I respond.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I've gotten 10x the amount of messages for reacting the right way
Yeah.
than punching back, and everyone, and I already know what people are thinking, like, dang, dude, you shouldn't have said that. You didn't need to go in there, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's the hard thing is, you fight in the mud with a pig, you're going to get dirty too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so sometimes you just got to be the bigger person and just walk away. And sometimes the best thing you can do is not say anything and
Yeah.
let everyone calm down and let things pass. And I have no hard feelings to Bachelor or anyone else. And, I realize that people are passionate about issues, and most of the time it's comes from that passion and not so much that they hate me or they hate something. And so I just kind of got to roll with the punches.
Yeah. So what then is next steps? Where do you see yourself in the next few years? Like is the politics game one that's long term? Is it
Yeah.
just, were you in it just to, solve the AI and tech, or, where's it going?
Well, you usually switch out a pitch or a punching bag after 2 years. So I think I'm out. No, I'm
That's our
out.
lifespan?
After that whole conversation. I'm done. No, I don't know, man. That's a good question. It's a question I get a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm not planning it. Like, sincerely, genuinely, that's the question I get the most from people. Is people see, okay, you're new, you've made it, you've done some things, what's next? And I don't think I have an answer, man. I'm trying to do the best I can do in this role, and I I, I will continue to run for offices and positions as long as I can continue to make a bigger impact for more people. And if I ever feel like that is done or I can't anymore, I, again, I'm not just saying this because it's a cool thing to say, but I'm cool not being a politician. Like,
Yeah.
I actually was happier. I was making more money. Like, my family was doing well, like
Yeah.
better off, So like,
Yeah.
you take on problems of the state and your district and stuff. It's a lot of work. It's gratifying, it's fulfilling, but I don't feel like I derive all my value from it, even though I've enjoyed it. It's been great to get calls and emails and be able to help people, like individuals. That's something that you'll never see on my Instagram, is all the individual people that I'm able to help. Like,
Yeah.
they're not going to post it. I'm not going to post it. But it's probably the most fulfilling part, is when someone has a real genuine problem, I'm able to connect them to the right person or fix it myself. And then for it to be, I don't want to be dramatic, but in some cases, life changing.
Yeah.
Like, and it was very little time of mine that I took to fix the problem. And it changes a lot for them. And so
Yeah.
that's the part I love of the role.
Well, brother, I appreciate you, man. I mean, your story is one that's honorable, memorable, and I think you carry a mantle that most don't, which is, not just your city and district, but like your community, right? We all back you. Everything that you're doing, we're looking and we're supporting from the background, and I just appreciate everything you've been able to accomplish. Last thing I'll ask, just by way of the No Rescue podcast. Can you share with us a moment, a defining moment where you realized like nobody was coming to save you? And through that, I want you to give really your last standing big piece of advice that you give to somebody when they find themselves in that moment.
Yeah. Um, it was when we were in college at Utah State. We just had Melolini. Uh, we got married 3 months after Jocelyn was pregnant, and a year into our marriage, we had a baby,
Yeah.
right? And I was serving as student body president. And I can remember we filed our taxes that year. We made $12,000. And I can remember looking at the bank statement and like, oh, shoot, like, life hits when you have now a newborn
Yeah.
and you're married and you're now trying to go to school and you're trying to make something of yourself and figure out what you're going to do career wise. And it was that moment I looked at my bank account. I was like, oh, shiz, like, you've got to figure this out. You were the one who decided to get married. You guys decided to have a kid. You're in school. Your parents can't help you. No one is coming to save you. And I think people can see hardships as interruptions. I actually think that's the assignment. Dude, I've cried so much on this podcast, dude. I need to stop talking about this stuff. But I think when we had nothing but each other, that's where I think God came in to play. I think sometimes God lets the storms come. Two reasons. Number one, so that you can see who can calm it, and it's only him. And two, so that you can learn to swim. And I don't even know that Jocelyn knows the weight that I felt, but as a young father trying to provide for his family, I feel like I found myself on my knees all the time, just praying like, Heavenly Father, I'm doing my best. I'm trying to keep afloat. I'm going to school. I'm doing all the things you've asked me to do. Just help me. And that moment of realization, no one is coming to save you, but on top of that, God will never abandon you. And that's, I think, my advice to everyone is never forget who you are and where you come from. And even before your culture or your family, you come from a loving God who's always looking after you. That's it.
Appreciate you. Love you, brother. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing your story and your journey. It's inspirational, and it's these messages that I'm excited to share with the world. So thank you for being here. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, man. Love you too, brother.
That's a wrap.
Sponsored by Prodo. Flavored protein. Not protein flavored. Discover our 20 plus luxury flavors at protoshop.com.